Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and thanks to my appearance on ITV News on Monday, we now have a new tagline for Cask Ale, Bradley.
Go on.
It's Cask Ale, bigger than Katy Perry in space.
Okay.
We will build higher than Katy Perry going to space on ITV News.
I see. Yeah, pretty great, man. It was pretty
I
exciting.
thought that would inspire some more enthusiasm from you.
I just wasn't sure where you were going. I thought you were going to pull a direct quote from it or something. But you
from Katy Perry.
I thought from the appearance, but you sort of just synergied together two things that happened. But yeah, we're bigger than Katy Perry, bigger than a firework.
Can you imagine the headlines if that had gone wrong?
I drank a cask beer and I liked it.
So my friends have been workshopping all of this. We've got You're Gonna Hear Me Pour.
I don't know that song. You're Gonna Hear Me Roar. Okay, yeah.
I casked an ale and I liked it.
That's what I just said, yeah?
No, you said I drank a cask ale and I liked it, which isn't as tight a pun as I casked an ale, like kissed a girl.
I didn't workshop it, did I? But
no.
Yeah, go on.
Well, they've had days working this through, whereas I've sprung it upon you. I don't think you expected me to come out with Katy Perry right out the gate, did you?
No.
It's proof we don't script these podcasts in the slightest. I would say the response to what I thought was a strong opener.
No, it's pretty good. Don't get me wrong.
So Cask Ale is bigger than Katy Perry in space. And I would argue that if we took the speech that she did make after she came down from 11 minutes in the sky, which was basically she said that she'd learned how loved everybody was, which I don't quite understand how you'd learn that from space, but it did sound like she'd had 3 pints. So maybe there's some kind of space sickness that you can catch if you go up and down really fast, like the bends, but for space.
I mean, I've got a question if they even went to space, because have you been on a flight, Johnny? It takes longer than 11 minminutes to get off the bloody runway.
Yeah, but you don't have
I know they're in a rocket
propelling you up there
I know they're in a
directly
rocket.
upwards.
I'm not saying they didn't go to space. I'm just saying, how far up could you really get and then back down again in 11 minutes? It's just the outer sort of atmosphere, wasn't it? They went to, presumably.
Well, they went past, I forget the name of the line, but they went past the line that is the definition of space and where there's no gravity, lower gravity.
Yeah. Wasn't she singing throughout or something?
Oh, God, that would be intolerable, wouldn't it?
You're just trying to take in the majesty of the small deep blue dot in space and realise how insignificant we are. And then you got Katy Perry blasting in your ear.
Yeah, she's not quiet. She's got a great voice, but she doesn't do a lot of quiet singing, does she?
No, she's not. I don't know. I think she's pretty just 11.
Yeah.
Out 11 out of 10 volume. But yeah, I mean, would you? I was sat there thinking, hell no, I wouldn't go up on this experimental space rocket thing for such a short amount of time. I felt like the payoff was not worth. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze, Johnny, I don't think. For 11 minutes.
I'd be on that in a heartbeat, Bradley.
Really?
Yeah.
At this point?
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, what I would say is it's early adoption of technology, and probably there'll be ways of spending more time in space and safer. So I'd maybe
Yeah.
wait a bit.
Yeah, you got to
But
wait.
if Bezos
It's
called
too
me up
early.
and said, "Hey, love the channel. Do you want to go up into space?" I'd be like, "Well, yes, Jeff."
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sure.
It's not an endorsement for Amazon, but
No,
yes,
no.
Jeff.
Did you the spaceship resembles
Yeah.
the spaceship from Austin Powers?
Oh, not what I thought you were going to say.
Well, it resembles like a member.
hmm.
But yeah, in Austin Powers, there's that joke, isn't there, when it's flying around, and they're saying it looks like a giant, and then it cuts to someone going, "Wieners, anybody want a wiener?" Who's in a park. Yeah, it's quite a phallic space rocket. He does bear a passing resemblance to evil.
He does, doesn't he? More and more every day. It's
Yeah.
been like hailed as like a victory for feminism, hasn't it? This like the first all-female flight to space, which it isn't, because there was a
No.
Russian lady that went up on her own for a start. But
In the 50s, yeah.
it does. It strikes me more as like a misogynist joke, like sending women to space in something shaped like a member.
Yeah.
I can't quite. It's just one of those news stories where you just can't quite get a grip of it because it's so bizarre.
I'd be worried about going up with Jeff's wife. I'd be looking into how well those two get on before I got on that flight.
The tin
I'd be
hat's
like-
back on. Yeah, right.
Be like, do you like Jeff? Is he a good guy? Do you get on well? Is it a bit rocky at the moment? Because I mean, he's putting you on a giant exploding thing. Basically, I'd be very scared.
I could see why you wouldn't step on this rocket. You've got
Yeah,
too many
yeah.
conspiracies, and it's not worth 11 minutes.
I've watched enough Murder She Wrote and Columbo in my time to.
Were there space rockets in either of those?
There were lots of devious, like super rich people that. Well, not
Devious
so
old
much,
white guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, especially Columbo. That one's great. But they would have shown that it was him at the start anyway. So you'd be like, I'm not going to get on this now because.
Oh yeah, we didn't know. That would have been the opening of that ITV News segment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we should explain. So I was on ITV News. We got it was on Sunday. I was at a kids' party, and my phone vibrated, and it was somebody from ITV News saying, "Hey, saw the campaign. We think it's a brilliant idea. We want to do a news story on it. Can you come to London tomorrow?" So that was a very hurried organisational thing. So I sort of found a quiet corner of the kids' party. Those don't exist. And started trying to organise it. So messaged the great Jack at the Sutton Arms and said, "Can we come and film there? Do you have delicious cask in perfect nick?" And of course he did. That's all he has. And yeah, we were shooting for about an hour on Monday afternoon. Obviously, only about 2 or 3 minutes of me, probably not even that, maybe 1 minute of me made it in. And I did a big in the middle of it because it was to not destroy the magic. There were a couple of takes of the tasting at the bar, and by like the third take, my brain was scrambled, and I'm annoyed they used that take, but there must have been a reason. So yeah, I didn't get to dig into a lot of like the actual intangible cultural heritage element of it and the beautiful history of the pub and the beer, which they did 100% ask me about, but there wasn't much time in the final edit to talk about it. But it was great that they also got a historian involved. They got a brewery involved, Brockley Brewery, to give it a little bit of oomph and a little bit more intrigue. And it was a great promotion. I think I was watching the signatures. We gained like maybe 300 signatures around about that time.
Yeah. Good
so
stuff.
It's not bad exposure. And then also Monday morning as well, I did an interview for Times Radio about it. And due to the previous interview, which was, to be fair, it was about British steel, an important topic, that overran. So I went from what was supposed to be a 10-minute interview to a 4-minute interview, which was basically, I defined what cask ale is, and then they gave me a 30-second pitch for me to say, please sign this petition. And I just about squeezed it in. But if you want a laugh, you go find Times Radio. It was 5 to 8, or was it 5 to 9? Can't remember, on Times Radio on Monday. And if you could have seen the video of me, because it was on Zoom that you do the interviews for these things, my face when she said, "You've got 30 seconds to pitch the petition," it was full panic mode. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that video of the guy that was accidentally drafted into a BBC News thing. He was there for a job interview, but they thought he was there. And his face when he realizes what's happening, like that level of shock and the expression he makes was very much what I was doing.
Great.
But I mean, I didn't see any uptick in signatures from that particular interview. But thank you, Times Radio, anyway.
You should have spoke double speed to fit in the message faster.
Well, I mean, I don't think my brain would have worked that fast because I didn't expect that kind of question to come at me. And I thought I might still have 10 minutes. I was naive to think they might start the news late so that I could finish my talk about the intangible cultural heritage value of cask ale.
Yeah, yeah. Do we want to have an update on the petition, Johnny? Do you want to know the number we're at now?
Yeah. Hit us with the number.
Okay, so can I tell the people what time it is we're recording this? Because we've got other things going on today. So it's 9:18 a.m. It's not 5 p.m. That's the magic of podcasts. So we are recording it. It is today. It's even Thursday, isn't it? What am I on about, Johnny?
Oh, but this is coming out on Thursday.
Oh, it is, because it's Good Friday.
Because Good Friday tomorrow. So don't worry about it. That secret's not out.
Thursday, 9:18 p.m. Okay, recognise the production and serving of cask ale as intangible cultural heritage. Signatures, 11,868. That's pretty good, man. That is pretty good. We've been waiting 4 days for a government response since we reached the 10,000 mark, supposedly. Although I'm calling it 3 days, but yeah.
The other exciting thing to point out is that all but one constituency has now signed the petition.
Oh, the heat map. Yeah.
So West Tyrone in Northern Ireland is holding out on us.
What?
So if you know anybody that lives in the West Tyrone constituency, please do drop them a line, because we just need to fill in that one last place. And then we can say to the government, it's a nationwide response.
Ooh,
Currently, it's not quite nationwide. It's nationwide minus West Tyrone. So come on. I'd love to tell you the name of the MP, but I have no idea how to pronounce that name. The surname is Begley.
Yes.
The first name it's O with the little dash over the top. RFHLAITH. Orflith is how I'd say that in my Oxfordshire raised received pronunciation, but no idea how that's pronounced.
Looking at the heat map, Johnny, I've got some news for you too.
Hit me.
Because the hottest area in the entire country is Beckenham and Penge.
There you go. You've done a great job down there.
That's my hometown. That's where I'm from. So I've been spreading the gospel. I think it's my sister, actually. Shout out, sister. She's been
110 signatures she was responsible for.
That's pretty good. Yeah, she's made 110 aliases. No, not really. No, it's obviously I people just responding, right, to us. It's nice, actually. I've a friend from primary school I haven't seen since primary school. I think she lives in Australia now. She put up something, just say, because I shared a video of myself saying thank you everybody on Facebook, and she shared it with her Australian, her friends on Facebook, which I thought was kind of amazing, because I haven't seen this person since I was about 10 years old. So shout out Leonie.
It's the power of cask ale. Brings people back together.
Right? That's kind of amazing. So yeah, shout out Leonie. But yeah, very cool. Very, very cool stuff. Have you got any other areas you want to highlight, Johnny?
Well, I mean, Burton-on-Trent is doing great.
Yeah, it is doing great, isn't it?
78 signatures. That's in second place.
Yeah.
And then in third place is Harpenden, which most people don't know where that is, but it's near me.
But and
then St Albans, no surprise, is in third, because St Albans is where CAMRA is based.
Yes. Surely, how many people were working for well, maybe not 61 in their building there, but
I'd imagine it's about that, I reckon.
Okay. They need to get out canvassing on the streets then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. Very
so
cool.
yeah,
Thank you, everybody.
we can't thank everybody enough. Obviously, it is a long old way to 100,000 signatures and a debate. We will be getting a comment from the government, but I do suspect that the response will be something along the lines of the government recognises the importance of pubs and the role that cask ale plays within it. We are currently preparing to open admissions to the Living Heritage listing as part of our ratification of UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage. And that's about it. You know, they're gonna fudge it. And there's nothing we could do about that unless we'd launched the petition once we'd obviously got that designation, and then we could have made it about UNESCO. But what I suspect is going to happen is, if we don't hit 100,000, we're going to have to do a new petition once we've got living heritage status to push for UNESCO. Because from the conversations I'm still talking to government, to MPs and to civil servants, and the feedback seems to be, and I don't want to jump the gun, please don't take this as read, but the feedback seems to be it's going to be a long time before they put anything forward to UNESCO, and they ain't leaning towards cask ale and pubs. I think that we are going to be further down the list, I think, because of public health policy, because of concerns around, you know, it's an important way of them raising tax, and they won't want any arguments against that. So I think they're going to go for easier, less, I guess, politically charged things, which means that actually the real lobbying will begin once we've got the Living Heritage designation, that first step. So we need to hit 100,000, and we ideally need to do it as late in the day as possible, if that makes sense. What we want to do is the day before it ends is to hit 100,000 signatures, because then we might have the Living Heritage designation already, and we can start pushing for UNESCO and start explaining to the government and to the civil servants involved why cask ale is beyond, not just more important than the other things on the list, but more important than pretty much, I would argue, than some World Heritage sites.
Well,
Because
we're more in
living.
danger of losing. Exactly, it's living and it can die. We're more in danger of losing it than we are a stone monolith, for instance, that stood for millennia. You know, these some of these pubs have stood for nearly a millennia, but you know, it takes an unsympathetic council or a bad business, short-term borrowing or whatever it might be, could take down, you know, some giants of culture. And there's no bringing them back once they've been turned into luxury flats or knocked down to become Bezos distribution centers or whatever.
That would be a terrible idea to turn a 12th century pub into an Amazon distro house. But hey, maybe that's where it's going to be.
Or
I mean,
like
some
a
of these
dark
pubs,
kitchen.
it could be a dark kitchen. Some of these pubs that we're looking to protect, right? These are older than things on the World Heritage List. These are older than the Taj Mahal and the Tower of London. You know?
Yeah.
Like significant, like 400 years older than the Taj Mahal in some cases, I would imagine, and that's one of the older ones I can think of on the list. I mean, maybe not as old as Machu Picchu. When was that? No, that must have been. I don't think we can beat Machu Picchu.
I think isn't that 14th? I'm not sure. I feel like it's 14th century, but I don't.
15th century, yeah. So there's pubs that are older than Machu Picchu that we're looking to protect here. This is the scale of the cultural heritage that we're looking to protect here. Literally older than the thing that everyone on their gap year goes to see because it's so old.
Yeah.
So
and majestic, to be honest.
And obviously majestic. It's not just because it's old.
If there was a pub on the top of that mountain in Machu Picchu, I'd have been backpacking there.
Oh. What do you reckon it would serve? Guinness?
What a view. I reckon it'd serve some is it Chris? Oh no, Chris Campo's not. Is that South American?
No, I think that's Spanish. I mean, it's not,
Spanish,
but I think it is Spanish. Yeah.
It's. I can't think the terrible South American beers that I've tried. They're not all terrible. Sorry, I just meant some mainstream ones that I've tried them and been like, that's rubbish. there's is it is Brahma? Where's Brahma
No,
from?
that's Brazilian.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
I don't know whether there are any Peruvian beers that we know.
There are definitely, but I don't know them though.
I've just googled like Peruvian beers. I mean, obviously there's Peruvian beers, but ones that are in this country. There's one bottle that I vaguely recognise with like a gold Cusquena Dorada. Which possibly I've seen in the UK, but otherwise no. Anyway, the petition is doing really well. We'll try to keep the momentum going, but the next big thing for us is going to be Great British Beer Festival, which is in Birmingham, and we're doing a session there on the trade day, and then hopefully there'll be posters everywhere and marketing going out via email from camera and all this kind of stuff to try and get people to sign it. Just before we move on, so we're recording this so early in the morning because Brad has a meeting and I have another podcast. I'm going to be on the Politics Home podcast this afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, they won't be going live this afternoon, but I'm being interviewed for it. And so there's going to be somebody from the BII, the British Institute of Innkeeping. I think somebody from the British Beer and Pub Association. There's going to be an MP, the deputy chair of the All Parliamentary Group for Beer, and Ellie Hudspeth from Camera as well. So she's maybe head of campaigns. So I mean, it's going to be a room full of people that want the pub to succeed. But it's going to be a room full of people that probably have quite different ideas on how the pub needs to succeed. And with all due respect to everybody else at that table, I think I'm going to agree with Ellie most. But hopefully it'll be a really good conversation in which we can explain. My idea going in is going to be to explain to people just how fundamental cask ale and pubs are to everybody's lives. That's what I'm going to be banging the drum for, and it's what I bang my drum on whenever I'm doing interviews for this now, because I think that that's what people undersell. People don't realise. They haven't thought about it for a long time. They haven't thought just how fundamental the pub is to their lives. And I can let Camera talk about how under threat it is, because it genuinely is.
Yeah.
And when that goes live, obviously we'll be linking to it and we'll be talking about what happened in our podcast. Should we dig into some news that's not related to our petition, Bradders?
Yeah, I think we should.
Should we start with should we start with Tweedy?
Sure.
Tweedy pubs.
Okay.
So, because it's on the topic of cask ale, so I've been tagged multiple times across social about this video, which Tweedy Pubs, which is a YouTube channel that is very much focused on the history of pubs rather than kind of the liquid that it serves. And I've enjoyed it for a long time, and there's some good history and some good insights there. But recently, he did a video exploring London pubs and asking why bitter is disappearing, which is a topic we've covered on the channel before. I remember it would be years ago now, but there was this phase of all the British bitters rebranding themselves to not use the word bitter.
Mm-hmm.
So like a focus group had clearly said to these big breweries, bitter puts people off as a name. So Doom Bar became Amber Ale. What if Fuller's just removed bitter and put outstanding? So apparently it's an outstanding ale. But I mean, they didn't change the recipes; they just sort of changed the names. Yeah, and as a result of that, bitter as a name kind of disappeared. And now, to be fair to Tweedy, it does feel like bitter as a style is very much disappearing. And in the video, which we'll link to, he goes to several, I would argue, quite modern pubs with modern outlooks that serve modern beer, and decries the disappearance of the Great British Bitter. And I think he's right, the British bitter is disappearing. But at one point in the Southampton Arms, he sort of asks, where's the British heritage? While literally pointing his camera at a brown ale, a porter, a mild, and a bitter.
Yeah.
So I think his argument is that, American-style beers is pushing British-style traditional beers off the bar. But I don't think that's accurate. I think there's so many factors leading to the decline of bitter in London, including the fact that only 2 breweries really make it at any scale now because they've all closed down. But I don't think it's the American style beers that are pushing it off. I think it's the dominance of some very specific brands of bitter. And I think it's also that modern breweries have a more diverse kind of approach to what they want to make. Hence why there was a like we should be celebrating the fact that mild was there, not decrying the fact there was only one bitter. In my view,
Agreed.
have you noticed the decline of bitter?
I noticed a decline of the comments section in his video.
Sure.
Although I must say there were lots of people sticking up for us, and suggesting that he go and watch our Keep Cask Alive Series 1 and Series 2. They even pointed out that we've got 2 episodes on bitter. Well, sorry, no, an episode on bitter, episode on the pub.
No, we've got 2 episodes on bitter.
We were sorry.
Yeah,
we
the
did
first
split it
2.
as 2, didn't we? Yeah, of course. Yeah, my brain's addled now. So, you know, the comments were alike with people saying, go and watch it. Because he basically tweeted, sorry, not tweeted, he replied to their appeals to go and watch our channel. He said, I just can't get past the name of that channel to bring myself to watch it. Which, you know, I don't think our name's that controversial. I guess it's the craft element that he is.
Yeah, he
he's
says in
hating
the
on.
video. He says in the video he hates the term craft beer. He doesn't
Yeah.
explain why he does. There's lots of people that do, and it's perfectly valid. And if I had our time again, I mean, I probably would still call it the craft beer channel because that was a helpful term for 5 or 6 years. I think now it's a deeply unhelpful term, and we've tried to sort of change the definition that we think it is. So, you know, to us, it's the race to the top, not to the bottom. And as a result, that would make, say, Harvey's craft, but it would probably not include Doom Bar.
Yes.
So
I did like. Sorry, go on, Johnny.
Well, I was just going to say, so I totally understand why he hates the term craft, but I don't think you should judge a book by its cover. And you'll certainly never catch me doing that every time I buy a book. But equally, maybe have another look at what craft beer kind of means to most people that are in the industry now, because I think what it means in the industry is very different to what it means outside the industry, and that's a bit of a tension that the industry needs to try and fix.
Yeah.
To try and what's the word? Not co-opt. Reclaim that term and give it the meaning that it needs and should have. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Indeedy. No, I was just going to read one of the comments in response to him saying I can't get past the name. Matthew Hamilton, 33, said, fair dues, but they have transcended their grapefruity shame to do real good.
Great fruity shame. Why don't people want beer that tastes of fruit?
I know.
It's
But
like,
fruit's delicious, especially tropical fruit.
and beer has always tasted of fucking fruit.
Yeah.
Our whole heritage of bitter brewing is based on yeasts that taste like apricot and peach.
Yeah.
What are these people talking about?
Don't know, but I must say loads of people were really championing our good selves, Johnny. So we'll take it all with a pinch of salt.
It's nice to see. And
a slice of lemon.
Tweedy himself has backed the campaign and said he likes it. So hopefully
that's good.
Hopefully he'll be sending some viewers to our petition as well.
Let's hope so.
So yeah, Tweedy, I do agree. I'd love to see more bitter, but let's champion all the other heritage styles that we have as well, and the pubs that are also serving those beers next to modern things that lots of people love. A vinyl filled with beer, Bradley.
A vinyl filled with beer, Johnny. Who would have even dreamed of such things? When we say a vinyl, we're talking about a music playing.
A vinyl record.
Record, yeah. Not like, I don't know, what else is made of vinyl? Like a gimp suit or something. Although I did see, I was going to share it with you and then I forgot. There's an Italian chef. Sorry, to hijack this for a second. There's an Italian chef I watched a video of, deadpan video this week, of him. He's like I don't know about Michelin starred, but he was very fine dining. And he suffers supposedly with a very overstimulated sense of smell and, well, just all of his senses, touch and everything, right? So years ago, it really hampers him when he's creating his concoctions. So a few years ago, a friend suggested that he should wear a latex suit that would isolate him somewhat, so he could focus on
his preparation of food. So then the news clip is a man, quite a handsome man, when he takes it off, with long hair, and he's literally wearing a gimp suit, while he's using little tweezers to like put stuff on a plate, and he's deadpan saying that it's amazing. He's deadpan saying,
you sure that didn't come out on 1st of April?
No, man, I'm pretty sure it didn't. I will try and dig it out and send it to you. It's pretty good. It's bizarre because it was just one of them where you scroll past it and you're like, what's going on here? Because he's he must get absolutely boiling as well in his suit. But yeah, there is a vinyl.
Do you reckon we get more views on our Beer Geek blind taste test if I was in a gimp suit? Is that where this is leading?
1,000%. If you did what the gimp, well, I don't want to be the gimp, so I'm not gonna suggest any gimp related content. But if there was the shock factor alone, it stopped me in my tracks, Johnny. When I saw someone cooking in a gimp suit, I had so many questions. I was like, surely this is a hazard. It's gotta be very flammable. Like
latex.
It has to be. Yeah. Oh, it's natural though, isn't it? So maybe it isn't flammable. I don't know. It's like rubber, isn't it? Latex. It's rubber from a tree. Latex, natural latex. I don't know if latex gimp suits are made of that. But
I guess it depends on the quality that you've bought.
It was weird because he had the full mask on as well, which was it was very odd. But he was very adamant that it was nothing sexual. He's like, it's 100% not a sexual gratification thing. It's so I can focus on the senses that I need at the time and I'm not overstimulated in other ways. But he did have a raging boner as he was no, he didn't really.
Bradley, jeez. I don't know whether that can make the edit. Oh my God. Let's talk about the vinyl record.
Yeah, so this is cool, right? Because this is, you sent this to me, I already had it, and I was like, I'll send that to Johnny close to the time. He's pretty busy. But it's Miller High Life, the High Life brand, have released a beer-infused vinyl record, which is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's like you've squashed a pint to the thickness of a vinyl record and sandwiched it between two very thin bits of I think it's acetate they actually make it out of, but it's a clear record with a dark brown, caramelly brown. Well, I guess if you hold it up to the light, it's more ambery.
It's real High Life, isn't it?
It's High Life, yeah. So it's not that
brown, maybe against the dark of the turntable.
Yeah. But it's quite a majestic thing.
It looks amazing. It really does.
Yeah, I mean it's super cool, and the really cool thing is, it's called Dive Bar Sounds, and they kind of tried to bottle the sounds of their favorite dive bars. So I sent you a little link to listen to some of it, and they basically, I haven't got the article in front of me, but they commissioned a guy to perform and create some music, which had some great names. Have you got the names in front of you, Johnny?
I'm not sure. It talks about it.
Oh, I read it somewhere. They were like dive bar themed names for each track, basically. But it's like it's got noises going on.
Welcome
in
to
the
Dive, Regulars Remix, Champagne Nights. If you've got the time. Well, it's a cover. Sorry, if you've got the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a super cool idea. I absolutely loved it. I mean, it's a stunt. Don't get me wrong, but it's such a cool little stunt that they've done, and it reminds me of one of my favorite albums of all time. It's a collab between John Hopkins and King Creosote, and it's got an amazing song called "Bats in the Attic" that everybody sort of might have heard of. But the first song is the sound of like a pub in Scotland, and almost like somebody just tinkering on a piano in the corner, and it's the most beautiful little bit of sort of music and still life. It's just wonderful, and I'm very into that kind of vibe. So we're not going to be able to get hold of one. They've only made 200, but credit where it's due. Yeah, what a cool idea.
It's a great idea. They've only made 200, and I did actually look about, can I buy one? They don't ship out of the States. Fair enough, actually, because It's got liquid beverage inside it, which must be a nightmare to try and ship. And legal ramifications of that. I guess it's a yeast sample potentially. I don't know. But they're staggering the release of 200 records. So they're getting you to come back every day at midday to.
So there's going to be like 20 on sale each time.
I don't know how many are actually on sale, but I just saw that they're going. Oh, you can try again tomorrow, which is wild when you've got a number of 200, because presumably that 100% would have sold out instantly. And I don't even think they were that expensive. They were like $25. So just the way they've made it is amazing. I don't know if you've ever watched how vinyl records get made. I follow a few people that make vinyl records out stateside, and they do all fun. They sandwich fun stuff between them quite a lot. I've never seen a beer, but I've seen other fun liquids and various items kind of sandwiched between records before. But this is truly innovative, and I must say, personally, I really like Miller High Life when I'm in a dive bar. So I've famously talked about being in rumpus rooms in San Fran, drinking Miller High Life and a shot of whiskey on the side, I think for $5, which is unheard of value in San Fran.
As we know from the Beer Geek blind taste tests, you should be drinking
you said the other one,
Coors Banquet.
Yeah. But I've never
seen the Primo macros.
But I don't see that in dive bars. When I've gone there, like I go to Doc's Clocks as well in Mission area, and that I think there they've got a High Life too.
I think High Life is fetishized by that kind of culture, whereas I don't think Coors Banquet is as much.
Yeah,
or maybe
like a dive
it's more
bar.
regional. Yeah,
it's definitely a dive bar essential. When I honestly love dive bar. I think they're amazing. Like the people, the clientele, the vibes. Just the atmosphere you get, a place that's like got history to it, but anyone's kind of welcome, and it's quite permissive. It's not pretentious or anything like that. They are unique bits of Americana that probably should have some protection on them as well, because they're the most. I love America so much, and when I'm very lucky enough to travel to America, I always seek out dive bars, along with craft beer, breweries and whatever, to kind of check out tap rooms and things. But dive bars, my heart is with dive bars in America.
Well, I think the issue is that defining a dive bar would be very hard if you wanted to try and
exactly
protect it. I think there are endless blogs by beer writers trying to define it.
Yeah,
and they haven't quite found the way to do it, because some of them, serve incredible craft beers and do good food, and it's just an aesthetic. And then the other ones, it's very much what I would consider a dive bar, which is, it might have Lagunitas on tap or something, but that's about as far as it goes in that direction. And the food is possibly wings if you're very lucky, and it's been doing the same thing for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's interesting because these cultures have to evolve as well. They can't stay exactly the same. The pub's evolved endlessly over the last couple of 100 years, and so people that say these things aren't dive bars if they're serving good beer and this kind of thing, I'm not sure that's true. I don't know. I've put my campaigning head on the definition, and I'm really struggling with that one. It's one of those things where if you're in one, but you don't necessarily know how to describe it when you're not in it.
Yeah, I feel like that is the majesty of them, though, is that they almost haven't changed despite everything around them. It feels like a nostalgia thing for me. When I go to a good dive bar, I'm transported back to maybe a more optimistic time, or a time when things seemed a little bit clearer or less murky.
I think that's a bit rose tinted. I think we grew up in a time when that existed. I think it was probably pretty murky in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
dive bars would have been at their pomp.
I went to watch the John and Yoko documentary this week, which was all about 1973 and 74 and the stuff that was happening in New York at that time, which is, as a sort of Americana enthusiast,
absolutely amazing. Go and watch it. It's called 1 to 1, I believe. And it's a fantastic piece of work that's got loads of found footage and tape recorded phone conversations between Yoko and her art publicists and John and sort of counterculture leaders that he's sort of planning to do things with. Well, she is as well. And art conversations about buying flies and how many flies they can buy, how long the flies might live for like an art thing. And then it's kind of set against big news stories of the day. So like the Attica prison riot where lots of people died. And there's a really shocking news article about a mental asylum that the cameras go in, and it's a child's ward. Absolutely heartbreaking stuff. And it caused them to put on the only live concert that he ever did after leaving the Beatles, which is kind of gears towards and it's in aid of helping these kids that are in this asylum. It's an amazing documentary, but it transported me back in time to a place I'd never been, which was 1973-74 New York, which I must say, it looked pretty amazing. But it was the end of the Flower Children sort of generation stuff, height of like Vietnam, and just a lot. His phone was being bugged, really like paranoid stuff, but turned out to be pretty accurate. But yeah, just kind of amazing slice, and he was so wanted to live in New York as a sort of simple life with her in a 2-bedroom flat, just watching TV. He said that TV had been a comfort to him as a child, and he just had a TV at the end of his bed, and they just enjoyed flicking through it and just watching what the American people were watching.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you stuck watching telly for a bit, because even John, even the guy who wrote Let It Be.
Yeah, man, it was amazing.
Did he? Yeah, that's Len. Oh God, I might have put my phone in there. I can't remember whether that's a Lennon.
He wrote a lot of good stuff, but I must say, before this, right, I wasn't really a huge fan of Yoko or Lennon, maybe to a certain extent, but they were honestly, genuinely such genuine, nice, well-meaning people. They come across so well in the film. It's absolutely beautiful. Their kind of love for each other. I loved it. I thought it was great. And she maybe was one of the first punk artists ever, potentially, with her crazy stylings, which she just screams and shouts a lot and stuff. But very punk. Very, very punk vibes. But yeah, it was good stuff. But yeah, but it's got that kind of dive bar vibes is what I was sort of alluding to. And at a time like that where I would have loved to have been around then and see, well, maybe not, I might have been drafted, but do often think I'd like to, if I couldn't live in this country, I'd quite like to live in America at some point. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
See how America goes first.
See how America goes.
Yeah, apologies to Beatles fans. That was a Paul McCartney penned song.
Yeah,
but obviously he wrote incredible stuff. Well, there we go. Maybe America will put in a application to UNESCO at some point to get the dive bar protected, and if they did, I'd be very happy to help them so long as I've finished our one and successfully done it. Otherwise, I don't know why I'd be of any use.
Yes.
But yeah, so the campaign lives on and will morph into dive bars as well. And actually, if my next book idea comes to fruition, which I've just started work on in the background, dive bars should be covered as part of that. So I will be exploring dive bar culture. And I assume there will be a long list of places I should visit from you, Bradley.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Right. Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. And because we don't have a video, we can't really dig into the comments. We dug into some on Tweedy's video. But we are back next week with broadcasting. So as I said, we've got our Delacen feature going live, and then we'll be kicking off again, and in a couple of weeks getting back into the cask ale stuff, which will hopefully be helping the petition as we tell the full stories of lots of the amazing breweries that we visited. And I'm very, very excited. I think it's going to have to be 2 episodes, having done the initial edit of it, like where I just sort of map it out. I don't know how I'm going to fit all of Kirkstall's amazing story into 30 to 40 minutes. I could do like a Return of the King style 10 endings and make it 3 hours long, or I could maybe split it in 2. We'll have to see, because there was we did the Tetley. I did an interview with Steve that didn't even make the cut at all in the Cardigan Arms. Then we had the Brew Day, which didn't really make the cut. Then a longer conversation with Chris, and then you and me having some conversations as well separately. So it's just redonkulous. So yeah, don't know when that one will come, but I think Harvey's and Timmy's will be the first few to come out in the next couple of weeks. So it's all looking good on the Craft Beer channel. Lots of beautiful stuff to come, just nothing this week, and apologies for that. So yeah, as we said, this is Thursday, 5 p.m. really. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you have a lovely Easter weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday with an upload and the amazing Evan debates of Delasette. Love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's Craft Beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the Craft Beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food, and homebrewing. Love and beer.